Part 84. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 836. Chapter 836 Inciting Murderous Intention. Is these two guys actually did not die directly inside? Upon seeing Wei Suo and Ling Longtian coming out of Magnetic Essence Mountain, a true disciple who was in the air explored suddenly bowed. The name of the Achievement and Virtue Sect true disciple is wearing a silver shapeshift great art, which was the same day that Zhou Ling and Wei Ling sent Wei Suo and Ling Longtian to the true disciple in Magnetic Essence Mountain. Bring them over among the two supreme elders. The old monk with only one bone left was confronted with an Achievement and Virtue Sect true disciple closest to Wei Suo and Ling Longtian. The Achievement and Virtue Sect true disciple, wearing a light gray shapeshift great art, suddenly did not dare to sneak a sneak peek into the shapeshift great art great treasure, which directly carried Wei Suo and Ling Longtian. Brought to the front of the two supreme elder and Mingning. What happened to the changes in Magnetic Essence Mountain, do you guys know? The old monk, who was so skinny, swept away two people and asked directly. We don't know what happened. Faced with this level of character, Wei Suo and Ling Longtian did not dare to great treasure. Pretending to look at each other, they all replied in amazement, "We are counting the time, it is time for the great treasure. So I came back from Magnetic Essence Mountain and didn't know what was going on." Two people in Magnetic Essence Mountain has also been outside a lot of people interrogation, so just slowly, otherwise to two people fleshly body, Magnetic Essence Mountain the two man made not much great trees your influence, soon can mountain, and now, both people's heart is a little relieved, because it seems that no one now seven great treasure secret place has been swept empty. I don't know what happened at all. Where are you from all the way? The old monk looked at the two and continued to ask. We are down the mountain from this secret place. Wei Suo pulled out a map, which was given to him by the silver shirt true disciple. You have gone down the mountain, are there any abnormalities? The old monk saw this map, and there was some light in his eyes. Then he looked at the two and asked. Wei Suo, a loyal and honest appearance, replied, the same way we went up, there is no difference. Which elders are you disciples? Another scribe-dressed supreme elder suddenly asked for surging sound. Ling Longtian immediately said, we are not the disciples of any elders, just the secret treasure of the great treasure. Great treasure surplus peaks miscellaneous disciple? How do you qualify to enter the 33 Buddha mountain? Both of the Achievement and Virtue Sect supreme elders are clearly a glimpse. We offended Zhou Ling from the great treasure, and then came to this secret place by his bulletin, Ling Longtian screamed as soon as he complained. That's nonsense. Ming Ning coldly swept Ling Longtian and Wei Suo, and reached out, but he took the silver shirt true disciple and looked at the silver shirt disciple, but it was a pair of silver shirts. Look like that. The two supreme elders, the name of Ma Teng, guarded the great treasure spirit field for 30 years and made the right to listen to Zen sounds shapeshift great art, so they have to do things. This person is named Wu Quan. It used to be the ordinary disciple of the great treasure. Because it was often unobstructed and provoked the incident, it was reduced to a miscellaneous disciple. In the great treasure, he was not honored, so he only I have come to this secret place by Nang. Silver shirt disciple explained immediately. Do you dare say that after Zhou Ling and us have a conflict, then Zhou Ling by we come over this secret place? The normal miscellaneous disciple, how would you be willing to go here to collect the meta great treasure stone? And the place you gave us, to the secret place are dark holes, we almost fell in and fell to death. Cried Ling Longtian. Two miscellaneous disciples, no insights, it seems that no shapeshift great art asks them from them. The two supreme elders only care about the changes of Magnetic Essence Mountain, but they feel that Ma Teng is a credible person, but does not care about Ling Longtian's complaint. A nonsense, why, can't you send you in the secret place? If every Achievement and Virtue Sect disciple is like you, what about our Achievement and Virtue Sect? The true disciple in a silver shirt is directly in the perspective of sect great treasure. heavily swears at them. Don't forget, I don't know how many achievement and virtue sect disciple are falling for our achievement and virtue sect. Wushidi, you don't want to be obscured. Weisuo, a loyal and honest, advised Ling Longtian. Ling Longtian pretends to be a daring and unspeakable look, but his heart is beautiful, and his acting skills are really good. Do you want to go to the great treasure of the peaks? At this time, Mingning is dull out of the surging sound. We really want to go to participate in the great treasure ratio of the peaks. According to the sect rule, we should also be able to participate in the great treasure ratio of the peaks. Weisuo is very honest, and some are afraid of Mingning's majesty. When Weisuo said that he wanted to go to the great treasure of the peaks, the surrounding true disciple suddenly had a sullen look. Obviously, I think that this kind of good still want to participate in what kind of test. It is simply not self-reliant. I will take you to the great treasure and participate in the great treasure ratio. However, Mingning said this in a faceless form, and then said to two supreme elders, the two elders, this magnetic essence mountain, since there is no change now, it is better to wait for the disciple to come out, check it out clearly. Good. The two supreme elders have no nonsense. The old monk-like supreme elder left, and the scribe-dressed supreme elder stayed behind, guarding the magnetic essence mountain, and several other disciples hovering outside the mountains. Surging sound, let all the disciples in magnetic essence mountain go out first. What are you doing inside? Mingning's transparent crystal light, directly rolled up. Weisuo and Ling Longtian, just flew out of the great treasure 6E of magnetic essence mountain, and asked the eyes of Weisuo and Ling Longtian by Mingning, brother, we only have a meta-great treasure stone, and there is nothing in it, said Weisuo. You dare to lie to me? I want to find death. Mingning's eyes were fierce, and the power of a giant treasure and the sturdy killing intent shrouded Weisuo and Ling Longtian. We don't dare to deceive Mingning, brother. Weisuo and Ling Longtian heart is very tense, the face mounted a pair of the pressure is nearly choking appearance. Do not know Mingning, see what flaw, this secret place if with two people together, kill Mingning estimate not difficult, but now the Ming tack the piece of shapeshift great art great treasure not jiao to the hands of the two men, secret place to kill the Mingning, it is impossible to slap. I will give you another chance. Mingning looked at Weisuo and Ling Longtian without a lust. To tell the truth, what is happening at Magnetic Essence Mountain, if you don't tell the truth, I can guarantee that both of you will be in this great treasure ratio. Become two bodies. Mingning, brother, we really have nothing to do. Weisuo pretends to look like a sigh. It seems that you really don't want to live. Mingning sneered, no longer said anything, and continued to fly towards the great treasure. I know that with the identity of Mingning and the cultivation base, I want to kill us. It is effortless. But I don't know, Mingning, brother, why do you think we have something in Magnetic Essence Mountain? Weisuo deliberately pretended to be angry and asked. The two of you made me feel suspicious. Mingning didn't look at the two people, and said no words on the table. Just think suspicious, you are going to kill us, Ling Longtian immediately called. What is not enough? Just because of your identity, dare to yell at the great treasure in front of me, you can erase you from the achievement and virtue section. Mingning said coldly, and nothing is done, what is the use of you? Both Weisuo and Ling Longtian were suddenly gray, but they looked at each other in the dark, but they all saw the look in the other's eyes. This Mingning is indeed very vicious. At first he didn't see any flaws at all, but only deliberately threatened him. At this moment, I am afraid that just because Ling Longtian's complaint has broken his majesty, plus his haze exhibition won you in front of Weisuo and Ling Longtian is to kill the two. And both Weisuo and Ling Longtian feel that this person is not talking about it at all, but that it will be arranged directly in the great treasure ratio to remove the two. I haven't decided whether or not to deal with you. You actually want to kill me. It's really ridiculous. High on the top, just as they squat the ants of Mingning, so Weisuo's heart suddenly flashed a sneer. At this time, he was almost certain that Mingning had them enter Magnetic Essence Mountain. The great treasure might be to find the worry-free Divine Lord, because when he and Ling Longtian came out, he deliberately left one on his body. The giant magnetic treasure stone, but now Mingning simply does not want to magnetize the treasure stone, but the Bai asks whether there is anything in the magnetic essence mountain. However, fortunately, this is transparent on the way to 33 great mountains of Fogwang, close to the great treasures of the 33 sacred mountains of Fogwang. Otherwise, if it is in Witch Hill, Mingning may even deal with them. At that time, they definitely didn't do shapeshift great art to hide the real strength, and definitely must be completely alarmed by achievement and virtue sect. So amazing great treasure then. A moment later, Wei Suo and Ling Longtian saw the scene of the great treasure peaks in front of them, densely packed, at least 200,000 or 300,000 gathered in a hill, and the amazing scene of the 72 giant Cyan essence metal platform floating on the Cyan divine light giant ring. It also made Wei Suo very shocking. This kind of scene is only possible to be seen in this class of great sect. Go. Mingning simply ignored the two people. It was just a two-person incompetent disciple. When there was a few miles away from the mountain naked body of the great treasure mission, he waved his hand and a crystal light turned the two toward great treasure, a secret place in the mountainside of mission rolled down. Senior brother Ma, Xiaom, are you okay? How could Mingning send you in person? This secret place is where the great treasure gathers. Wei Suo and Ling Longtian come down with Jingguang. The old man and Zhang Yun, and the middle of the money, the great treasure, the disciple, are very surprised is coming up. Wu Shidi, this was just sent by a disciple in the great treasure, saying that you left the old stuff in the great treasure. I saw you and senior brother Ma are not appearing, I thought. A large treasure parcel at the great treasure next to Fei Zhong handed a coarse cloth package to Ling Longtian. Among the rags are some talisman paper, essence metal ore, futons, and clothes. The things of Mingd are here. The divine consciousness of Wei Suo and Ling Longtian was just a sweep of the inside. It seemed to be a glimpse of the ordinary Hun and essence metal. The brows of the two men immediately jumped. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 837. Chapter 837 is crazy. You have to look for an opportunity to see if there is any problem with this thing. Wei Suo does not move the surging sound color to the Ling Longtian pass surging sound. The thing that Ming gave him was very strict with essence metal. With his perception, he could only perceive that there was an ancient great treasure inside, but whether this thing is the same as what Ming said before. But definitely have to take it out and check it carefully before you can be sure. After speaking this to Ling Longtian, Wei Suo greeted Zhang Yun and others and looked at it. At the moment, on top of the giant Cyan essence metal platform on the 72 hills, achievement and virtue sect are in the battle, and disciple and achievement virtue the heavyweight figures are basically secret place on the hill near the top of the mountain, and Mingning has returned to a suspended Liantai near the summit of the mountain, while Matilda and some supreme elder class figures are suspended in the air near the summit of the mountain. Golden core third layer and above, the great treasure is about 13.4, which is less than the 7 great treasure secret place when listening to the Buddha sound. There is no divine mystic great treasure, and the achievement and virtue sect master does not visit this great treasure. Wei Suo deliberately to see the Mingning and the Ming tak a glance. Will he and Ling Longtian bring the secret place of the Mingning is not to pay attention to his appearance, obviously completely is that he and Ling Longtian this level of drudgery disciple for ants, even if they will. One Yuan said all not at all, and Mingning is secretly toward him made a wink, motion to all according to the agreement, let him at ease, no problem appearance. Mr. Brother. Mr. Brother. At this point, many of the cultivators of the great treasure are suddenly a surging sound. Wei Suo's gaze swept, and suddenly he wondered why the cultivator around the great treasure surplus suddenly burst out of this surging sound. On the giant essence metal platform in front of them, a cultivator wearing a great treasure Cyan shapeshift great art suit was knocked out, and the right rib was shot with a fist great treasure. Blood flow is not limited. The cultivator wearing the Great Treasure Cyan Shapeshift Great Art clothing looks less than 30 years old and looks ordinary. Wei Suo recognizes this person and is the most outstanding young generation of the Great Treasure generation. Named Moyuyan, the cultivation base of the Thought Division First Layer. This name is highly anticipated by many senior characters of Great Treasure. He is expected to be a senior disciple of Zhou Ling at the time of this Great Treasure, but he did not expect to be a person at the moment. It a big hit. At the moment, he was hit hard on the stage, but he was a proud young cultivator wearing a yellow shapeshift great art. According to the shape of this shapeshift great art, it is the greatest treasure of the great treasure of the great treasure. At this moment, Moyuyan, who is seeing the great treasure, is being beaten by him. This is the great treasure. It was a sneer of disdain and stood on the spot. Read treasure, is the name of inner sect disciples. An ugly great treasure of Yingfeng older generation will soon be hit hard, and the dying Moyuyan will be treated under the ruthlessness. On the stage, an achievement and virtue sect elder sitting on the edge of the bronze lotus stand is reaching out and will jade talisman, representing inner sect disciples, was in front of the proud teenager cultivator wearing a yellow shapeshift great art suit. According to the achievement and virtue sect rule, you can have the identity of inner sect disciples by defeating the opponent of the cultivation base above the heavenly circuit realm 5th layer in the great treasure ratio. Or directly challenge the inner sect disciples and defeat any inner sect disciples. You can also get the identity of inner sect disciples directly. Inner sect disciples has a much larger number of spiritual stones per month than regular disciples, and can enter some places where ordinary disciples can't enter, such as some library viewing books, with some privileges not found in ordinary disciples. While inner sect disciples can also challenge other inner sect disciples, even true disciple, if it can be in the middle of the great treasure, it will definitely be seen by some elders, and will be collected as disciple. As long as it is a disciple of the elders, it becomes the true disciple recorded by the achievement and virtue section. The status is much higher than the ordinary disciples. Many privileges and life and death are also valued by section. Only supreme elder is pressed on it. And the sect master level of true disciple. This kind of great treasure ratio, for the peak ordinary cultivator, is a rare opportunity, because almost all no sect special mission arrangement of elders above the scene. Many elders' taste are different, each with each great treasure a lot of true disciple, but for inner sect disciples and true disciple, but also a severe test, also equivalent to is a rigorous trial, because the weak, very can be beaten in the face of the ordinary disciple of the outstanding characters. At this moment, the name of the great treasure is now smoothly promoted to the inner door. It is obviously the way to challenge the cultivation-based disciple of the other peaks of the heavenly circuit realm 5th layer. This is the treasure of the great treasure, Moyuyan, who has been defeated by him. The second cultivator is gone. His is Sanking Cross virtual platform, with a transmission distance of thousands of miles. It is one of the transmission type shapeshift great art great treasures used by the ancient cultivator before our time. Just as the disciple around the great treasure peak was defeated by Moyuyan on the stage, Ling Longtian hanged his head, his eyes flashed continuously, looking at the parcel in his hand, and facing Wei Suo's sound. Transmission, this thing should not be damaged, as long as you focus on true UN, you can. As long as you can focus on true UN, you can use it. What is the transmission distance of thousands of miles? If you can leave the achievement and virtue sect, it is completely safe for Wei Suo who has void walking footwork. But this thing determines his life, so he dare not take it lightly. Say with sound transmission. Steel teeth younger sister, this thing is about our life, you have to be sure. Shapeshift great art is complete, and there are no traces of any changes. I am sure that nothing is wrong. Longtian knows that this is a life-threatening matter, and does not talk back to Wei Suo, and carefully explored for a moment, affirmative saying with sound transmission Wei Suo's ear, you can indicate the transmission direction when you are thinking we can go anywhere in which we can escape. /P That said, Ming did not do anything, just in accordance with our agreement. Since he got the Buddha nature holy fruit according to the agreement, it seems that I have to help him kill Ming Ning according to the agreement. If he becomes the achievement and virtue sect, it will be good for us in the future. Eisuo does not move the sound of the sound to Ling Longtian's ear. The trees are quiet and the wind is not enough. Oh, even if you don't want to find them, the trouble has already come to your door. These people do not teach, the evil is hard to eliminate. Ing Longtian sneered at the suo's transmission to Wei Suo's ear. These people come really fast, don't know if they are coming by themselves, or there is Ming Ning's instructions behind them. Wei Suo turned to look to the left, his divine consciousness has been very clear. 5 or 6 cultivators wearing the great treasure shapeshift great art suit are heading towards him and Ling Longtian, 3 of them Zhang's old face, the majestic great treasure, the young disciple, and the sweet girl with the round face, and the young man with a birthmark on the mouth. Great treasure is really a generation that is not as good as a generation. It seems that this may not even be able to get an inner sect disciples. The 5 or 6 great treasures of the young disciple came proudly, said the handsome treasure surging sound of the young man who looks like a man. You say what? You great treasure, the peak is great. Eizong he has a few strong treasures of the treasure Yingfeng disciple suddenly forehead blue violent, the gas-filled great treasure surging sound screamed. There is nothing remarkable, just to say something. The young man who looks like a man is playing with a piece of jade talisman and said indifferently. This jade talisman shines with a faint blue light, which is the jade talisman who marks the identity of inner sect disciples. This person obviously has already defeated the opponent of the cultivation base above the 2 heavenly circuit realm 5th layer. He already owns the inner sect disciples. Identity. Gu brother, have you also promoted inner sect disciples? And the great treasure of the surplus treasure has a lot of words, it is self-effacing. Surging sound sneaked the surging sound, but it was the one who just qualified for inner sect disciples, surrounded by several great treasures. Many great treasures are all angry, but the 2 people's divine ability has only seen them, and it is not the opponent of these 2 people. You bully the great treasure, no one will pay the price for today. Many of the great treasures of the great treasure are angry and helpless, because according to the sect rule, the 70-year-old old-aged characters have lost the qualification to challenge the other peak cultivators, and cannot be used in this great treasure ratio. I don't want to talk nonsense with these people. It's just that some people in the great treasure have said that they want to challenge me in the great treasure. So come over and see if this person is courageous. Is it ready to be a tortoise? The young man with a grin smiled, but his eyes were gathered on Wei Suo's, and God's lust is self-evident. I will let you get what you want. Wei Suo glanced at the arrogant young man and said. Pony, not impulsive. Hearing Wei Suo, Xuanhuan, and the old man surnamed Qian suddenly took a surprise and quickly surging sound. In their opinion, Wei Suo could not be the opponent of this person. Reassured, today's great treasure is destined to be a blockbuster. Wei Suo was very calm. He glanced at the group of great treasures and the treasures of the great treasure. He looked at the surcharges of the middle-aged people. You brothers, I will help you out today. Xiao Mazangyuan old man and the old man surnamed Qian couldn't help but stunned. No one thought that Wei Suo would say such a thing. Is this person crazy? Zhou Bingkang, who had just qualified for inner sect disciples, also bowed and couldn't help but look at the young man who was looking at the storm. There are people who are at the peak of great treasure, don't they usually like intercourse to our great treasure to come to life? Wei Suo nodded to Ling Longtian, and on the right side, there was a crowded blue shapeshift great art-robed cultivator on the hillside out of the surging sound. To my great treasure, I.e. had a chance to come out. For Wei Suo, since you are ready to take the lesson, you can use it as a great treasure. Ling Longtian didn't talk much, but took the Wei Suo's storage bracelet out of her sleeve and stuffed it into the Wei Suo's sleeve. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 838. Chapter 838 1 Round 1. The people of the great treasure surplus dare to call it. The surname Mo is already awesome in their great treasure, the young disciple, and they have all been defeated. Is there anyone who dares to call it? Isn't that great treasure Yingfeng got Ma Teng who is qualified to listen to Zen sound? It's just the cultivation base of heavenly circuit realm. I dare to scream so much. Didn't I hear Zen sound pass shapeshift great art? What? Go, teach him. Wei Suo's surging sound, the place where the great treasure of the disciples gathered suddenly, and now there are a lot of great treasures, disciple, standing up. The three treasures of the great treasure, the great treasure, the great treasure and the great treasure are the hills closest to the great treasure. Because of the decline of the great treasure, the disciples of these hills are always free to enter the great treasure. Yingfeng, I also know a lot about the great treasure disciple. Don't you dare to fight me, the surviving Gu surname, the great treasure, the misspeak disciple, is awkward, Wei Suo's move is too unexpected. The surname of Ma, are you itch? Dare to yell at my entire great treasure, is it because I want to tear down some of your bones? At this time, several powerful giant treasures of the disciples have also come over. It's really the most arrogant. Wei Suo calmly glanced at the few great treasures, the disciple, and said indifferently. These people are familiar with many of the great treasures of the disciple, often to the great treasure surplus to catch cheap. While you are a great treasure, you should have no problem with IQ. Wei Suo followed the gaze of the surnamed cultivator. If there is no problem with IQ, you should just hear it clearly. I have to teach you. Xiao Mei, the old man surnamed Qian, and the old man of Zhongyun both came forward and wanted to stop Wei Suo. In their view, Wei Suo is very abnormal today, and in their view, Wei Suo is not an opponent of these people at all. If it is really against the enemy, the end will be very miserable. Zhang Shishu, Qian Shivo, I am in the underground space of my house in Xiaoyungu, 10 feet secret place, leaving something for you, these people, I will teach you by the way, for you to vent. However, Wei Suo did not move the sound of the surging sound to the two old people and the ears of the Phi, so that the two old people and the Phi are all stunned. Let's go. Wei Suo didn't take these people at all, and went directly to Ling Chantian to the front of the Cyan Essence Metal platform. According to the Achievement and Virtue sect rule, all the tests are performed on the Essence Metal platform of these hills. Although there are only 3 or 4 elders of Achievement and Virtue sect on each Essence Metal platform, many elders and older people wander through Essence Metal platforms to pick the disciple they need. But the Cultivator Do Shapeshift Great Art is basically an electro-optic flint, the moment can be divided, so the line on the Cyan Essence Metal platform of the Peak's disciple, do not have to wait for how long. It is too arrogant. No strength, dare to be so arrogant. A group of great treasures and the treasures of the great treasure are all completely gloomy. You are just looking for death. The savage young man saw that Wei Suo didn't look at himself at all, and suddenly his eyes bounced and he was so angry that he was so angry. Brother, you are dealing with him and it is a dirty hand, this kind of idiot character, I will teach him to do it. The great treasure, the foggy disciples, who had been bearing the birthmark with the young man, said with a sneer. Wei Suo turned his head slightly and sneered, are you sure you can? You, the name of the great treasure of the birthmark, the foggy disciples, was burned in anger. At that time, the round-face female cultivator was also called, this person is too odious, wait a moment and let me teach him. Meet the contractor to register first. An assistant and virtue sect elder on the Cyan Essence Metal platform does not have any sense of surging sound. The 30-year-old assistant and virtue sect is a yellow-breasted and thin old man wearing a fuchsia shapeshift great art. The shapeshift great art is a red-hot fireball and fire chi lingers. Great treasure Ma Tang, Wei Suo snorted and he almost shunned, saying that he became a great treasure Wei Suo. Great treasure Yu Feng Li Wei, there is a bit of a round face young female cultivator first out surging sound. Well, the teacher will teach you about him. The great treasure with the birthmark on the brow is the surging sound. It is not as good as the female cultivator. It is a pity, and it looks awkward to Wei Suo. Reassured, you can be your turn when you wait. Wei Suo took a quick look at this person. You can go ahead and try. The brow of the yellow-browed old man was also slightly wrinkled, reaching out to the front of the secret place. There is also a pair of cultivators on the Cyan Essence metal platform that are being tested, but powerful energy does not affect this half. This yellow-browed old man's brow is slightly wrinkled. It is obvious that Wei Suo's cultivation base is still so arrogant. It is a bit ignorant of the current affairs, and it is necessary to take it for himself. The round-face female cultivator named Li Wei and Wei Suo stood at 200 feet apart according to the rules of the test. The round-face female cultivator reached out and took out a Cyan Yu sword from the treasure-receiving pocket. This handle Cyan Yu sword 3 feet long, through the naked body scatter Ying Ying Guang, round-face female cultivator to take it out, the right hand 2 fingers fretting, the handle Cyan Yu sword suspended in front of her. This round-face female cultivator is also a shapeshift great art of control's flying sword, or a sword cultivator. Ma Teng, you are obediently kneeling now, and if you give us a confession, you still have time after offering the Cyan Yu sword. The round-face female cultivator looked at Wei Suo with a smug look. Look at the fact that you are a woman, I will stay a little. Wei Suo faintly swept a famous face of the female cultivator. Presumptuous. Whoosh. The Cyan Yu sword instantly turns into a cyan streamer, like a dexterous cyan snake, and it flashes to Wei Suo's behind the head and stabs at Wei Suo's back of the head. Ka. A cyan water blade is accurate and flawless in the cyan stream, directly hit the Yu sword in the air. Pa. The round-face female cultivator was shocked, and had not had time to make any action. Wei Suo had already arrived in front of her, slapped her to make her fly out, half of her face swollen and directly stunned. Great treasure Ma Teng wins, but this female cultivator is less than heavenly circuit 5th layer and does not count. Huang Mei's eyes flashed in the eyes and announced. According to the rules of great treasure, as long as the two parties voluntarily, any level of the peak disciples can play against each other to show divine ability in front of the chief of achievement and virtue sect, let the chief of establishment and virtue sect choose the disciple, but defeat the heavenly circuit 5th layer. Under the disciple, this kind of win and loss can't be used to calculate whether you have the qualification of inner sect disciples. This person actually won. His ordinary water blade actually intercepted Li Shimei's flying sword. This person's shapeshift great art turns into a streamer, so fast. Is it spirit light shapeshift great art? The screaming Gu surname Disical and others were all stunned, but the reaction was not over, and even the round-face female cultivator fainted to the ground, and no one ever went to help and treat. Senior brother Ma turned a face and stunned the woman. This woman is also the cultivation base of the heavenly circuit realm 5th layer, and also has a flying sword. Senior brother Ma is so powerful. What is the repair of the senior brother Ma, shapeshift great art, so fast? Senior brother Ma has always been hidden. Wei Suo is only the spirit light shapeshift great art at the moment, but in the general cultivator, the nature is already very amazing. When you see Wei Suo, you will stun the round face cultivator. All the great treasures of the peak are in the disciple. It is extremely surprising. How could he have such strength? The old Zhang and the old man surnamed Qian, who had previously received the Wei Suo sound transmission, couldn't help but look at each other. Their hearts were even more shocked. Do you want to try it? Wei Suo licked the great treasure of the birthmark with the birthmark. I said it can be your turn. The shapeshift great art is unremarkable, just the ordinary water blade shapeshift great art. Shapeshift great art is fast, I just have to keep it. The great treasure with the birthmark on the brow. The young disciple of Weifeng saw Wei Suo so arrogant, the thought flashed in his heart, and suddenly the great treasure anger, swept directly toward Wei Suo. You are too arrogant. I only hope that you will not ask for it. Go ahead to challenge the name of the disciple. The yellow-browed old man has no surging sound of the table lust. Great treasure Yu Feng Yang Jiao. The name had a birthmark on his brow, and the young man with a very sullen face swept to Wei Suo's and reached out. He first offered a purple scent, and a layer of purple spirit light, which protected the whole body. You still don't have your own shapeshift great art great treasure, is it scared? After the release of this purple Yu, the name of Yang Jiao's great treasure, Yu Feng disciple, sneered at Wei Suo, still standing still. To deal with you, you don't need any shapeshift great art great treasure. Wei Suo's tone is plain and it is a fact. If that's the case, then you will die for me. Yang Jiao was just cold out of surging sound, the mouth was cold, and a transparent ice needle spit out. This transparent ice needle is only a toothpick like great treasure, but when it is spit out, the temperature is within the range of several tens of feet. The temperature is greatly reduced. Suddenly, like a cold winter, a chill is spreading toward the four sides. Cold ice needle. This is the shapeshift great art great treasure of the true spirit class. It is the thing of the great treasure old Lu had, actually passed to this person. Upon seeing this, many of the great treasures of the great treasure suddenly fell nebsp, but at the same time, a pink smoke suddenly popped out of Yang Jiao's body, and the area between him and Wei Suo suddenly covered by thick pink smoke, his entire body naked body, hidden in it. Chaoxia smoke. Qi. A great battle of the treasure Yingfeng disciple called out the name of the cigarette, a surging sound sharply surging sound at the same time, obviously Yang Jiao took the opportunity to cold ice needle. Pa. After a sharp breakout surging sound, a surging sound blasts the surging sound and then rings. Immediately, all the pink smoke disappeared. Yang Jiao was motionless and fainted to the ground. Xiancao was sunken down and had a footprint. It was obvious that Wei Suo had kicked several bones and stunned directly. Wei Suo stood in front of Yang Jiao's secret place, and looked calmly at the surnamed Gu cultivator. Will it be your turn? Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 839. Chapter 818 Brother Ma. A small valley less than 10 miles away, surrounded by white spirit fog, white. There is a mountain path extending from the white mist in Gukao. At the end of the path are a few fields of reeds and a small house made of reeds. The spirit fields are filled with various spirits, with different colors and strange shapes. The fog rises like a haze, and a clear spring flows from the rocks on one side and forms next to several fields of spirit. A small pool. Brother Ma, remember to help me take care of the 2 cold-scented ice plums in Condensed Valley. Last time you promised me. I have to go out for a few days to come back. It's all up to you. Here in front of the reed hut in Kotani, a middle-aged man in his 40s who looks like he is talking with 2 young people. The 3 are all wearing the same style of cyan shirts. The middle-aged man looks very honest. It looks like a promise. At first glance, it is an honest man who has no claim. The 2 young people are more chunky. It looks smart, while the other has a long figure, a fair complexion, and a clear eyebrow. At this moment, it is this young man with a clear eye that is not worrying about the middle-aged man. Okay, Brother Zhang, don't worry, I will pass by later, the middle-aged man very honestly promised. Relax, when Brother Ma has forgotten something, he promised that there will be nothing wrong. The young man with an eye-catching eye was a little uneasy, and he wanted to say something. Pat him on the shoulder and say so to him. Thank you, Brother Ma. Hearing the chunky young man saying this, the young man with clear eyes and eyes think about it too. After a smile, he left and walked out of the valley with the chunky young man. You really are, he hasn't made any mistakes for 30 years, and he didn't break a spirit yao because he forgot something. You still don't worry. The 2 young men walked out of the valley, but outside was a mountain with clouds, This the position of the valley is halfway up the mountain. The two walked on the mountain road. The clouds between the roads were automatically separated, and the chunky young man couldn't help but talk about the young man with clear eyes. I also know that the cold-scented ice plum is the main material used by Lu Shishulian Yao. In case something goes wrong, I can't afford it, the young man in making Muxio said a little embarrassedly. Then you still ask Brother Ma to take care of you. I said that you have asked Brother Ma to do a lot of things for you over the years, you have more time to practice and earn spirit stones. I'm not the one who asked him to help. Besides, Brother Ma's talent is mediocre, and he still has such cultivation practice, and there will be no great achievements in cultivation. In case I have great achievements in the future, help him. To compensate him is. That's not necessarily. Did Brother Ma get the qualification to listen to Zen this time? If he got any chance, it would be different. The Master Yuan Hung didn't just look at the disciples in the garden. Did you get a chance? The two young men spoke while walking, and soon disappeared into the misty mountain road. Just a moment after the two disappeared on the mountain road, a slender old man came out of another mountain road. Hey! The old man's head was white and his face was thin, but his eyebrows were very kind. Looking at the direction of the disappearance of the two young men, the old man sighed softly and shook his head, as if he had just heard the two people's excited talk. Then, the old man walked into the small valley less than 10 miles away. Uncle Zhang, when the old man walked into the valley, the middle-aged man who was honestly agitated was taking care of one of the linjao before a piece of linked yen. He carefully sprinkled some 1 beads on the leaves of the linjao. Seeing the old man walk into the valley, the middle-aged man immediately wiped his hands, stood up, and paid a respectful gesture towards the old man. No more gifts, the old man was kind-hearted and sat down on a bamboo chair in front of the small house. He greeted the middle-aged man over. Did Ma, Xiaozhang, and Xiaosong make excuses for you to do things for them? It was Brother Zhang who said he had something to go out for a few days. Let me help him take care of the two cold-scented ice plums in Condensed Valley. The middle-aged man stood under the old man and answered honestly. The old man shook his head slightly, but he didn't say much, but just agitated. Then you have to be very careful these days, don't go out of the way. You're disqualified from listening to Zen, and Yanhuo Valley. 2 plants have grown badly in 2 days. I have told you, Uncle Son, that I will take care of Yanhuo Valley these days. Thank you, Uncle Zhang. The middle-aged man who honestly agitated Ao seems to be reticent, just said so. This thing is for you. After you have seen it, destroy it. The old man nodded, took something out of his arms, and handed it to the middle-aged man. Uncle Zhang, what is this? The middle-aged man was a little stunned. The old man gave him a yellow scroll with a simple picture on it, which seemed to be hand-painted by a low yellow linden tree. There is a rough, toad-like blue mountain rock below. This is left with a good brother who is very private to me. The old man looked at the middle-aged man, his eyes dizzy, and he seemed to remember the old man. This records a place in the 7 treasures. 7 treasures. The middle-aged man seemed very surprised, his eyes widened. You. And after listening to what I said, I understood. The old man waved his hand, so that the middle-aged man was restless. My brother is also like you, who is responsible for planting the spirit field. As a result, he did not make any mistakes for 30 years as an ordinary disciple. He was qualified to listen to Zen sounds in the 7 treasures. He has a low status. When listening to Zen sounds, he is closer to the wooden fish of Zen sounds. Some places covered by the Buddha's light have been occupied by people. He can only be in the outer part. On Bluestone. Listening, but almost no one was inherited from the Zen sound that year. He was in this remote corner far away from the wooden sound of the Zen sound. Instead, he heard a strange chanting from the Zen sound and listened to him before his death. What he said at the time. Sitting on the bluestone, I only felt that there was a breath of fresh air on the bluestone, which made him feel strange, but the scripture was very complicated. Although he heard it, he still couldn't understand its meaning, and finally he could not understand it. Instead, melancholy ends. In our Dayingfeng, there are people who have inherited Zen sounds. The middle-aged man was extremely surprised, his eyes widened. Don't tell anyone about this, the old man looked at the middle-aged man and said very seriously, my brother did not tell anyone about the scripture, and even feared that I would be as uncomprehending as he is. In the end, even when I was dying, I didn't even tell him that he still had a nephew in the outside. If this matter came out, I'm afraid Zongmen would pursue it, but it would affect his descendants. I know, I won't tell anyone, the middle-aged man nodded with certainty. Now, you also have the opportunity to listen to Zen sounds in the Seven Treasures. This is a great opportunity, because it has not cultivated a bad spirit Yao for 30 years, this is not only for you to be careful, but also for God's favor. I will tell you this matter, I want to the Seven Treasures. The place may have a chance. If you listen to Zen, you can't hear the scriptures in other places, you can sit in the place where my brother got the scriptures. The old man looked at the middle-aged man and said slowly, as for your sex, son, honest, there is no big demand, even if the scriptures are unintended, I don't think they will be as depressed as my brother. Uncle John, thank you. The middle-aged man looked at the old man and said seriously. But it's not sure, Dajiru you, Daiki Oruo, no you, no demand, maybe it will become a avenue. The old man lowered his eyebrows and sighed softly, you remember this place in the picture, let's destroy it. The good middle-aged man looked at another pattern, stretched his hand to smash the yellow film, and then buried it directly in the soil in front of Xiaoxi. You have to be careful these days. After the old man agitated again, he did not stay much, stood up, and left this small valley. Miss you. Before this big Yingfeng, someone actually had inherited Zen sound. I am afraid that even Ming didn't think of it. This old man is really good, he took care of me, and gave me such a thing. I replaced this. People listening to Zen. The qualifications of this person are indeed not bad. This person is a little unfair. At that time, I want to give this person some benefits to make up for the past. After the old man left, the middle-aged man's eyes were obviously smart. Get up and watch. The ground where the picture is buried, brows slightly jumped, softly muttered to himself. Then the middle-aged man turned and walked into the small house behind him. After taking the door, he stretched out his hand, but took out 2 demon pills with the size of a child's head. The 2 demon princesses gleamed with a slight white light, just like sheep fat white ewe, and the water spirit was very full. Once taken out, the whole small house seemed to be very wet after the new rain. I don't know what kind of mystery this ancient stupid demon pill is. After taking out these 2 large strange monsters, the middle-aged man murmured again, and then he reached out and threw a spirit out of his head, and wrapped one of them inside. Then a stream of water spirits rushed up continuously, but it started to refine this demon pill and cultivate it. This middle-aged man is awesome. Seeing Wei Suo's spirit of water spirit at the moment directly scrolling the demon cultivation, it is clear that it has been repaired, but there is no special prohibition here. He dare not stretch his arms and practice hard. The washed water spirit is only about 1/10 of the usual 2. After practicing for more than half an hour, I saw that he had put away the Pangu giant Zhe demon, which was not much smaller. His eyes flashed, he felt a moment, and then he swept out and walked towards the valley. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 840. Chapter 840 is only in the record of strong shapeshift great art. How is this person's shapeshift great art above the weak? Great treasure and the treasure of the peak treasure are all cold, no one dares to respond. Zhou Bingkang is also a famous character among these mountains. In the eyes of the old people of Zufeng, great treasure has a future. He was directly turned into a black charcoal, and he was afraid to come forward to challenge Wei Suo. Zhou brother is here. Chen Mi brother is here. See how this person is crazy. In front of Master Chen, this person is only obediently kneeling. Suddenly, great treasure and great treasure, the peak of many disciple is a intercourse call to escape light from above, plunging instantly to the Cyan essence platform before these two cultivator. One of them is Zhou, while the other one cultivation base is a little bit more than he is thought division. The fourth base, this person is only 278 years old, wearing a willow green shapeshift great art clothes, body wind spiritual chi, is a feng spiritual root cultivator. This name cultivator face. Jun Lang, is also a solitary, a look of pride. When Zhou and this person flew in, listened to the Jiao talk of disciple in the shortage of great treasure, Wei Suo knew that this person must be a great treasure. It has been collected by an achievement and virtue sect elder. Disciple. Zhou Shixian, this person is clamoring to teach us the three peaks disciple, and the brother Gu is the one who was beaten by him, a 30-year-old sharp-faced great treasure, followed by Zhou and Chen Mi. Apparently Zhou and Chen Mi were still watching the secret place, but it was because of this man's venting letter. It's actually you. Zhou saw Wei Suo standing on the Cyan Essence metal platform and couldn't help but see it clearly. Let you down, Wei Suo smiled slightly. Brother, he has a stunning attack on shapeshift great art, and even spirit scale high grades defense. Shapeshift great art great treasure has been broken. Several great treasures of the peak of the disciple go around, a slap in the face. Zhou and Chen Mi said. Is there a stunning attack on shapeshift great art? Zhou looked a little surprised. When did you secretly learn the amazing attack of shapeshift great art? Wei Suo smiled again and looked at Zhou. If you have the guts, you will come to the test. If you don't have the guts, you don't have to talk nonsense. In the future, the great treasure will be obediently staying at the great treasure. Tortoise. Presumptuous, Wei Suo's surging sound is not high, but Zhou and Chen Mi have all changed their faces. Do you want to die? Chen Mi took a shadow and ran directly to Wei Suo. Spiritual Qi has a strong interest and is outstanding. It seems that there is a great sect true disciple. Chen, this person is too arrogant, give him a good lesson, let him know that the sky is high and thick. A piece of great treasure lacks the peak of the disciple. Chen Mi is the genius disciple of the great treasure, has reached the thought division 4th layer cultivation base, no accident, definitely achieve golden core, become the leader of the achievement and virtue sect. Chen Mi coldly looked at Wei Suo and sneered, with your cultivation base, even if you have a heaven level top rank attack, you can make you a dead dog. The three elders obviously also knew Chen Mi, so they did not complain about Chen Mi's identity, and Zhou and Chen Mifei swept down to fight the shapeshift great art on the stage. It also made a lot of achievement and virtue. Sec's great treasure character noticed that there were many elders in the sky and the surrounding sky. I'm a shapeshift great art, even if it's not good for others, it's enough to deal with the lack of your great treasure and the great treasure. Wei Suo smiled and said, I think you are dead. The dog is not enough to watch, you can go with the Zhou dead dog. Presumptuous. Chen Mi and Zhou suddenly dared great treasure, even if Wei Suo is now inner sect disciples, true disciple is far from inner sect disciples, but he actually killed two dead dogs directly. Shua. A red-colored shapeshift great art print and a U-disc are also presented in front of Chen Mi's body. The red-colored shapeshift great art has become a great treasure, and it has become two great tabletop-like great treasures. It has a simple town demon and directly crashes into the sky, and it is pressed down to Wei Suo. Another U-disc is a light blue tire naked body, but it is covered with crystal clear white shapeshift great art beads, like many stars shining, chi, unstoppable, countless unusually condensed water swords, shot from this U-disc, called Wei Suo. OM. Wei Suo's shaking above the head, Wei Suo smiled and stood still only applying MT Sumi great lifting. A majestic white Sumi divine mountain was made in the air and was lifted by him, like a whip-like net. Chen Mi's first time was a great treasure, and the naked body swept back. but it was too late, and the mountain was covered with hundreds of feet. He had no time to escape. The red-colored shapeshift great art and the U-disc were beaten by the brilliant treasure, and they flew out. Hey, the suffocating giant treasure, powerful energy pressed on him. His stunned great treasure called surging sound suddenly interrupted. The blood in the mouth was mad, and there were numerous surging sounds of broken bones. Ah! The Zufeng disciple, including the three elders who watched the battle, had an incredible exclamation. One of the true disciple of the thought division fourth layer, which also offered two spirit rank shapeshift great art great treasures, was defeated by this technique. Many of the chieftains of the achievement and virtue sect who were flying in the past also had a fierce meal. One of the white old men wearing the golden core second layer cultivation base was shocked, and the incredible divine light appeared in the eyes. The white man may have seen MT. The record of Sumi great lifting is extremely shocking and doubtful at the moment. You are definitely more than the cultivation base of Heavenly Circuit Realm. Otherwise, even if Heavenly Circuit Realm's cultivation base is used to display heaven level top rank, shapeshift great art, it is impossible to have such powerful energy. There are several great treasures, and the giant treasures of the peaks are called surging sound. You control me. What cultivation base? If you don't accept it, even if you don't dare to come up, go back and restrain the disciples in your peak, so that they don't get to other peaks like wild dogs. Wei Suo doesn't leave lust, sneer a surging sound, turn to Zhou Ling, then it's your turn to be a dead dog. Zhou Ling took a step back unconsciously, and Wei Suo only took the powerful energy of the blow, which made him chilly. How? Fear, don't you dare, Wei Suo smiled a little. This is the so-called outstanding disciple of the great treasure. This Dao technique shapeshift great art is definitely not a great treasure. You are coming from. After saying it clearly, great treasure is more than a gloomy middle-aged cultivator wearing a purple-black dress. The spiritual chi outside this person is a purple-black condor, chi flame by, is a golden core. First layers cultivator. Many great treasures of Yingfeng's older generation recognize that this person is Chenmi's master, one of the real power elders of achievement and virtue sect. According to the sect rule, the great treasure ratio, it seems that there is no stipulation that the disciple should say what it is. What is the shapeshift great art? Even if you want to check, you have to wait until the great treasure is over. Only the chief of shapeshift great art is qualified to cross-examine. Wei Suo ignores this elder and continues to look at Zhou Ling. How, dare or not, don't hide like a dead dog. Presumptuous. I now suspect that you are stealing some of the achievement tree technique shapeshift great art from achievement and virtue sect. Have the right to take you down. This name is wearing a purple-black attire, the great treasure surging sound sternly shouted, and the spiritual chi is raging. If you don't agree, you should start with Wei Suo. Don't stop him and people from trying, but at this time, the white elder wearing a yellow robe fell down and said surging sound. This sub-use, like a supreme secret place shapeshift great art in my achievement and virtue sect record, he continued to contest. A man armed with cyan bamboo staff also fell down. The elderly is extremely old, bent back, eyes yellow, wearing a few embroidered with a few bodhisattva figure of the grey robes, the teeth are out of the light, flat mouth, but the forehead is high, there are cyan divine light flashing. Roman great elder, almost all of the cultivators present were shocked. This old man is one of the oldest supreme elders of achievement and virtue sect, and is now the principal of the achievement and virtue sect Presbyterian great elder, except for some elders. In addition to the old antique at the bottom of the box, his power on the bright side is only under the achievement and virtue sect master. Supreme secret place shapeshift great art, only in the achievement and virtue sect record, is this subtle coincidence, and what amazing inheritance. Zhang Yun's old man and Qian's old man are all stunned. This person used is the secret place shapeshift great art that our achievement and virtue sect lost. Many people are unbelievable, but they know that the eyes of Luo great elder are definitely not too biased by great treasure. Many elders and supreme elder characters have also landed on this essence metal platform, knowing that there will be great treasures, and many escape lights are coming from all directions, gathering towards the secret place essence metal platform. Zhou, can you dare to fight me? Wei Suo does not move the surging sound color, calmly out of such surging sound. He has already noticed that Mingning and Mingde and others are already flying towards the secret place platform where he is located. Nice. This is your Bai Mai? Zhou snarled a surging sound, plunged across from Wei Suo's, and sounded into Wei Suo's ear. You think so many elders are looking at you, what they are looking at is just the Dao technique shapeshift great art on you. Today, even if I am crippled, they will never punish me. Today, you are a little bit more powerful, so arrogant, I will make you crippled today. Gollum. Just after the Wei Suo sound transmission, Zhou looked up and swallowed a red gold yao. Ah! One swallowed this red golden yao. Zhou is a great treasure of surging sound, his qi and blood, divine consciousness, true yuan are immediately violently inflated, a group of strong treasure of qi flame from him, the skin of the Mao is pouring out of the pores, and even a body of spiritual qi is formed outside his body. Great treasure god Mercury, Huangmei elders changed their face. This great treasure is also a kind of spirit pellet that can instantly raise the cultivation base. It is full of great treasure, but some of the gold and purple origin qi will also cause the fleshly body of the cultivator to suffer a lot of damage. Zhou thought division 5th layer late stages cultivation base, take this Dan, suddenly close to the golden core first layer cultivator. Hong. Without any stoppage, Zhou divine consciousness pressure directly pressed Wei Suo, and at the same time reached out, a great treasure hand flashing cyan Buddha light directly fell from the sky, and instantly reached the top of Wei Suo's, covering a radius of 5 feet. Great treasure ignorant. This is also the strongest inheritance of a great treasure, the powerful shapeshift great art of heaven level mid-level. Hua. But for a while, Wei Suo was not affected by his divine consciousness pressure, standing still, just still using MT Sumi great lifting, a giant treasure white Sumi divine mountain, was instantly brought up by him, crushing the Buddha's great treasure, and then suppressing it on Zhou. Ah! The shapeshift great art clothes on Zhou were shattered and the bones of the body were crushed and smashed out. MT Sumi great lifting, it's really MT Sumi great lifting. The great elder holding the cyan bamboo rod and the white elder wearing the yellow robe are all very motivated, and the naked body keeps shaking. Book address: if you have high intercourse, please copy this address to your friends. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 841. Chapter 841 is divided. What, how is this possible? They have already taken care of the great treasure, and they have all been beaten. What is Mateng's cultivation base? /p. Countless pairs of shocked eyes, staring at Wei Suo, who seems to be flying a fly. A common disciple, which is not known at all, actually flies a true disciple whose strength is close to golden core. Many people's naked body does not tremble unconsciously. This is incredible. MT Sumi great lifting. This is really MT Sumi great lifting. Yuo great elder, holding the cyan bamboo rod, lowered the platform and walked towards Wei Suo. How did you get this inheritance? /p. Is this only the secret place in the record? Is it born, a giant great treasure flower with a great treasure in the pavilion? This great treasure flower is made up of spiritual qi condense, like a 5-color crystal, with countless scents of sparkle. It is also an old antique level figure at the bottom of the pressure box. The body is extremely old, but the silk is like ink, the face is delicate and without a trace of wrinkles. At this moment, his deep eyes are full of exclamation. Got this technique in Magnetic Essence Mountain. Ei Suo replied casually. Get in Magnetic Essence Mountain. The old man in the great elder and the great treasure flower holding the cyan bamboo rod looked at each other. Is the previous earthquake of Magnetic Essence Mountain's origin chi related to your inheritance? I want to sue the sect master for this matter. Wei Suo looked at the two achievement and virtue sect old antique. Sect master is not in the sect at the moment, and we are saying the same, there is no need to worry about it. If there is a reward, there must be no less. Both of the achievement and virtue sect old antiques looked at Wei Suo. Hen I collected the meta great treasure stone in Magnetic Essence Mountain, I dropped a deep cave and then got the scripture inexplicably. Eisuo was originally deliberately inquiring about the achievement and virtue sect master. He was not in section at this moment. He heard that two old antiques said that the achievement and virtue sect master were not in section. He suddenly lost more scruples and said casually, "When I brought you over, I asked you what happened. Why don't you say it?" A crystal outside the body formed a giant great treasure three-faced Buddha, scattered supreme majestic cultivator landed directly in front of Wei Suo's, looking at Wei Suo, coldly questioned. "It is Mingning. You and Zhouling, they persecute us. We enter Magnetic Essence Mountain to help you dig the giant treasure stone, and on the way to threaten to kill us. I don't want to give this Dao technique shapeshift great art Jiao to you, I want to give sect master." Eisuo put on an honest look and said, "Let's go, you can't talk about what?" A true disciple wearing a goose yellow shapeshift great art suit followed by Mingning, suddenly sternly shouted a surging sound, "You are not a negotiable brother. /P. I am telling the truth." Wei Suo has a face. Mingning brothers dare to swear that it is not true. Mingning, what the hell is going on? Two old antiques couldn't help but look at Mingning and asked. This person's great treasure is suspicious. The ordinary disciple falls into the deep cave of Magnetic Essence Mountain. It can't be done intact, and this person is just a great treasure. It is impossible to have such a cultivation base. Mingning simply ignored Wei Suo's accusation and coldly looked at Wei Suo. Suddenly, his eyebrows shot a vermilion divine light and shrouded it toward Wei Suo. OM. When the sky was shaken, Wei Suo once again mentioned the Pang Great Treasure White Mountain, crushing this vermilion divine light. "You dare to stop me from exploring, you must have a ghost." Mingning's gaze instantly became icy cold, with a stunning killing intent. "Do you want to explore me and explore me? If you want to explore me, you have to be able to win me." Mingning's mind is obviously very deep. Wei Suo does not dare to talk nonsense, directly with words. "You are also true disciple, according to the rules of great treasure, I can also challenge you. I have to look at it, open the mouth to kill my true disciple. What strength is there?" "What? Challenge Mingning. /P. Wei Suo's export of this sentence is completely stone-shattering, like a mad chow, and the entire great treasure peak is shaken. There only supreme secret techniques in the record, /P. Omion dare to challenge Mingning, /P. With Mingning's cultivation base, you can kill the ordinary golden core cultivator with a wave of hands, and someone dares to challenge him. Is this child crazy? The three elders on the previous Essence Metal platform were shocked and couldn't help but look at each other. "Very good, you dare to challenge me." More suspicious, Mingning's eyes narrowed slightly, and the cold smile, "But I have to suppress you anyway, I can give you this opportunity." Challenging Mingning, someone got amazing secret place in Magnetic Essence Mountain and challenged Mingning, /P. Great treasure. The rest of the stations on the peak have stopped. This is a heaven-shaking great treasure. Almost everyone does not want to miss it. It is better to wait until the battle is finished. Guarding spirit fields challenge to Mingning, isn't this suicide? There is nothing wrong with this guarding spirit field. Is there any secret seat secret? Mingning, you have to be measured when many people discard spiritedly. The two old antiques are sound transmission to the hands of Mingning. This person has a supreme heritage and cannot directly kill it. Death is too great treasure. Ling Longtian secret place near the corner of Wei Suo's platform, secretly transmitted to Wei Suo's ear. Wei Suo smiled lightly. He was afraid of being noticed by what old antique, and there was no sound transmission. The more it is, the more formal the giant treasure is. When you kill Mingning, the old antiques around you will not do it right away. It is much better than sneak attack on Mingning. You definitely don't just have this divine ability, otherwise you don't dare to yell in front of me. But if you think that there are some divine ability, you want to be against me, that is, great treasure is wrong. /P. A vast atmosphere and pressure came from Mingning's body. His whole person was suspended on the essence metal platform, and the eyes of the three giant Buddhas outside the transparent crystal condense were all opened. Come, Aruan BSP, you do it. Mingning didn't show any shapeshift great art great treasure, just a look at Wei Suo and said. Wei Suo didn't talk too much, and his eyes glanced at Mingning's eyebrows. Even Ming didn't know what secret place the Mingning had with the naked body, but before Wei Suo heard Ling Longtian said that Mingning also repaired Shalipan shapeshift great art, his key is very likely to be in the eyebrows. Hong. At a glance, the breath of Wei Suo suddenly surged like a volcanic spray, and the endless suffocating pressure burst out of Wei Suo's body. Ah! Many of the true disciple and elders who are closer to the platform are subconsciously slamming backwards. This breath makes them fearful and feels that there is no shapeshift great art. The entire PN great treasures Cyan essence metal platform can't stand the powerful energy that bursts instantly. The void was shaking wildly, and a white Sumi divine mountain came out of the air, lifted by Wei Suo and pressed down towards Mingning. This white Sumi huge mountain is far more than the powerful energy that Wei Suo performed twice before. It is completely condensed, and the Bai Sumi divine mountain is hundreds of feet. The naked body flashes a quaint ancient Sanskrit. Wei Su mentions the Wei Suo of this mountain, and divine might can't be seen, just like God King suddenly came. Several of the evasive, including the savvy master, the chief, and virtue sect elders, were directly placed in the air by unimaginable powerful energy, pressing the shapeshift great art. This hit is comparable to divine mystic. The cultivation base of the sub is at least to the golden core 5th layer. He two antiques of the achievement and virtue sect are also reluctant to retreat, and the incredible divine light flashes in both eyes. Great treasure, the peak of the peaks, the great treasure, and other peaks. The brain completely lost the ability to think, they only feel such powerful energy bombardment. I am afraid that a mountain must be crushed and crushed. At this time, there was a little cha song, which was not noticed by everyone. The great treasure fascinating face of Wei Suo, who was slap in the face of Wei Suo, just woke up. As a result, I saw a scene like this, a surging sound. Directly scared to death. Oh! Mingning, the great treasure formed by the crystal outside is instantly shattered, like countless transparent butterflies. Shua. /P. At the same time, Mingning squeezed out a shapeshift great art with both hands, and a faint yellow glazed brilliance flashed from him. His whole person, instantly retreating more than 2,000 feet, the area between him and Wei Suo, heavily stacked, numerous glass brilliance flashing, as if separated by countless layers of pale yellow glass. The merits of the glass industry. Several Shaper elder characters instantly recognized this shapeshift great art. This is obviously also a supreme secret place shapeshift great art, which seems to not only instantly and intuitively open the distance, but also isolates a shapeshift great art world, full of defensive power. /P. White Sumi divine mountain was crushed down, and a layer of glazed brilliance was crushed. But Wei Suo is shot down. Mt Sumi great lifting was directly avoided by Mingning. Dang! A surging sound, the 9-day singer suddenly sounded, and Mingning in the void once again flashed a stunning crystal, and a cyan sacred piano was made in front of him. With his hands stroking, there was a strangeness on the cyan piano. Shapeshift great art resists the vastness of the atmosphere, and a faint light cyan light pattern flows into the void. At the same time, countless hands of the great treasure of the flying fairy from this piano, muscles like fat, beautiful faces, one by one like reverend. A circle of Buddha light came out from this piano body, and a total of more than 1,000 Buddha light rings were formed, which were like peacocks. Hong. Wei Suo also turned out a white Sumi divine mountain, which was under the pressure of Mingning. All the flying fairy and a circle of colorful Guanguanguangua were shattered. Scold. But Mingning didn't have the slightest panic, and at the same time, he created a sharp divine light with a sword. The transparent divine light and white Sumi divine mountains remaining powerful energy hit, Mingning and Wei Suo suddenly double naked body, and the dramatic dang made the two people instantly form a hurricane. Mingning's fleshly body has many cracks on the skin. It is obvious that the impact of this powerful energy makes his fleshly body not suffer from shape-shift great art, but Wei Suo's lust shape seems to be worse. A surging sound after boring, he fell directly from the air to the great treasure. T not worth it, /p. Mingning a surging sound cold drink, shape-shift great art did not stop at all, and a sharp divine light was created in the eyebrows, killing Wei Suo. Mingning has a amazing weight on his brother's hand, Mt Sumi great lifting also has no shadow shift great art to break all his defenses. /p. Mingning brother is winning. Relying on shape-shift great art great treasure and shape-shift great art, resisting each other's strongest blow and instantly counter-attacking, this divine ability is hard to imagine. /p. This battle has already come to an end in almost everyone's eyes. Almost all of the cultivators who saw the scene feel that Wei Suo will definitely be unable to stop this divine light. But at this time, Wei Suo, which seems to have no resistance, is a surging sound, a step by step. If the same round of the sun suddenly bursts in front of him, his figure disappears instantly and appears above the giant treasure of Mingning. Mingning turned and the divine light in the Buddha light and eyebrows on the cyan piano flashed again. You got fooled. Wei Suo suddenly surging sound sounds very calm, but it seems that there is a god of Buddha blessing, all heavens has countless invisible shape-shift great art will running, a terrifying extreme majesty, suddenly shocked in Mingning body. Pu. Without any warning, Mingning stepped back in the air with a great treasure step, and the opened mouth spewed a blood. The achievement and virtue sect old antique, which was in the great treasure of the pavilion, opened his mouth at once, and the sky above his head was dark, but it was impossible to speak for a while. Hong. A white Sumi divine mountain, without any stoppage, is on the back of the vomiting of Mingning. Mingning's naked body was directly smashed. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 842. There are thousands of meritorious ancestors, each of which has its own heritage, indicating that among the thousands of years of meritorious ancestry, at least 1,000 Jindan monks were born. Just according to this number average, a Jindan monk was born in a few years. Although in fact in the monastic world, Kong Tak Sung certainly cannot make a Jindan monk in a few years, it is estimated that even some old antiques unknown to the outside world there are at most dozens of characters in it, but it can be seen that there are certain periods in the history of merit and deed, which must be very amazing. There are many Jindan monks. The more Jindan monks and Shenxian Meng have ever been, the more detailed the background of the sect is, because often there are some relics left by the power of a Shenxian triple and 4, and some things that contain roads, some prohibitions are difficult for later generations to reach, and for the entire sect, it is extremely amazing wealth. Coupled with the 1,000 peaks of meritorious ancestors, like thousands of schools, letting go of self-reliance, it is prone to various genius disciples, making the meritorious ancestors prosperous. The meteorology and inheritance of such a large sect gate, unless he is in it, otherwise it is really unimaginable for such a loose repair. In the past few days, Wei Suo has also entered the place where Daying Feng placed the classics. He has checked some of the classics, knowing that Daying Feng has also had a glorious period in the past, and has had many genius disciples, and even one of them, Neng, named Yuanying, the surplus word in Daying Fen, is designed to commemorate this person. The rest of the peaks are basically named after the monk who has been taken out, the one with the highest achievement. At the time of its glory, the number of disciples at Daying Fen was several times that of the present. There were many disciples living in Hushan, many of them also arranged by themselves and opened up the linked yen. But at this moment, it is a time of declining. There have not been any genius disciples in hundreds of years. Some of the senior figures in charge of Daying Fen are slightly inferior to those of other peaks, and they have relatively few resources. Wei Suo walked all the way towards Hushan. Many places in Hushan have not been repaired. Many of the former disciples' residences have been very dilapidated. Some of the original majestic large palaces that seem to be used for lectures and trial methods are, even because of years of disrepair, no one had the heart to control it and turned it into a ruined ruin. The wormwood was everywhere, the thorns were everywhere, and it was very desolate, like a field. Wei Suo did not know the specific residence of the old man named Zhang Yun, who usually took more photos of him, but he read the records and knew that their generation of disciples lived in Xiaoling Valley, Hushan. Later, because a Lingquan in Xiaoling Valley was cut off, Xiaoling Valley was slowly abandoned, and Zhang Yun and others later moved to other residences. Wei Suo came to the back hill of this big Yingfen because of Zhang Yun giving him the picture. Although he knew that Zhang Yun, the old man, would definitely not lie to him and help him wholeheartedly, otherwise he would not give him the picture specially to inform him of such a secret, Zhang Yun's brother, he certainly did not take that scripture. The text was passed on to Zhang Yun, but since the brother had received the Zen treasure of the 7 treasures, Wei Suo couldn't help but want to try his luck at his former residence, because according to the age, Zhang Yun's brother was depressed and in the end, it should have fallen into Xiaoling's residence. However, even if Ming did not say that the power that left the Zhenyan Wu among the 7 treasures, according to some records in the Daying Peak, Wei Suo also knew that the power seems to be the most powerful in the history of meritocracy. Strong monk, the cultivation practice of the 5 peaks of Shenxian, and according to the record is only because the last Xiaoyuan is not much, only a little, and there is no proof of true immortality. Compared with Wei Suo, the power of Shenxian's 5 peaks is a very high peak compared with Wei Suo's enlightenment, and what he left behind, for Wei Suo, it must be very useful. It should be here. Wei Suo deliberately avoided everyone, let go of his consciousness, and detoured. He walked through some wild grass trails where few people usually pass by. After spending more than half an hour, he stopped. In front of a quiet, is a barren valley. There are more than a dozen high steps at the entrance of the valley, and there is a cyan boulder mountain gate. The word Xiaolagu is inscribed on the mountain gate. Although this turquoise boulder gate has a long history and some weathering, it is still more than 20 feet long, but it is still breathtaking. But in the valley, it is full of dead branches and yellow leaves. A main path is almost completely submerged by thorns and weeds. Someone cleaned it up, and on the ancient trees not far away, several crows yelled, and they were so full of life that there was no spiritual charm that the monks lived in. Yep. But before entering the blue giant stone gate, Wei Suo's eyes flashed a strange color. There are actually 5 monks in this barren little Lingwu. At this moment his consciousness is splattered and he feels very clearly. The 3 monks are in a courtyard on the left side of the middle of the valley. 3 brothers, if you demolish this courtyard, some of our uncles and uncles will probably blame. We demolished it, not you demolished it, what are you afraid of? Huh, some deserted things, and no one lives at all, even if they are all removed. Do you know who wants what we are looking for? We demolished it, not you demolished it, what are you afraid of? Huh, some deserted things, and no one lives at all, even if they are all removed. Do you know who wants what we are looking for? Wei Suo approached a little quietly, to his surprise. The voice of one of them, he could hear, was a younger brother of his Mateng identity, named Mo Wei. What kind of friendship, but when he saw him, he greeted him actively and called him a brother. This is a lot of self-reliance, and his rank is lower than his Mateng status, but he does not respect him at all, and even some disciples who look down on him are different. Let Weizhuo think this person is still good. After all, a younger brother who can be honest with Mateng, and who seems to have no future, treats him so politely, is definitely not a bad guy. Now listening to the words of Mo Wei and the other monks, it seems that Mo Wei and the other monk are persuading, while the other three monks want to tear down the courtyard and look for something. What to do if you want to demolish this barren dwelling that no one cares about? Wei Suo listened a few more words. Anyway, he felt that the other monks had the highest level of cultivation, and he only had to focus on one level of cultivation, so he went to the courtyard to see what happened. Brother Ma, outside that courtyard, there was a jujube tree with some old vines wrapped around it. The door was full of weeds. I suddenly felt that someone came and saw it was Mateng. Wei and the other four monks were stunned. Mo Wei is a young man with a long thin figure and a somewhat rectangular face, while the other four monks are respectively dark-skinned and somewhat sturdy young students in blue shirts, 3 young monks in vermilion robes, and 2 men a female, all seem to be less than 30 years old. Among the 2 male trainees, one of the left 5 facial features is upright, but there is a green-black birthmark on the left eyebrow, which looks inexplicably fierce. There was a bit of coldness in the room, which made people feel uncomfortable for the first time, but the other female cultivator also had a certain appearance, some plump and sweet looks. It's just that the body is obviously close to the male cultivator with short hair. Wei Suo feels as if he has deliberately flattered the male cultivator. The male cultivator's cultivation practice is also the highest among the 3. A heavy repair. The female Xiu Xiu Jo Xiu Xiu Xiu, and the others Yi male Xiu Jo Jo Wu Xiu Xiu. These 3 are, Wei Suo asked honestly as he looked at Mo Wei. Wei Suo, a disciple of merit ancestors in such a verdant vestment, has not yet seen it. According to the experience of these days, the ordinary disciples on the peaks of Gongdizong Zone each wore different colors or styles of vestments. The disciples of this scarlet cassock should not be from the surrounding mountains. These 3 are the brothers of Daofeng. Mo Wei was surprised to see Wei Suo suddenly coming, but he answered immediately. Dai Yufeng. Wei Suo groaned slightly, not too far away. He was 4 or 5 mountains away from Daying Peak. He knew the location and name, but he didn't know much about it. Okay, don't talk nonsense, I'm here. If it's blocked, don't blame me. The young monk, who was divided and thought to be romantic, was sneering and waving impatiently. Waved. What are you going to do? Do you want to cast a spell here? Wei Suo suddenly said out loud and honestly, according to the rules of Daying Feng, the spelling is not allowed in this place. Just dismantle something, it's not a spell at all. The young suave monk gave Wei Suo a cold look, ignored it, raised his hand, and prepared a spell to hit the front roof. Brother, for the time being, even if it is to be dismantled, it is better to say hello to some uncles. Mo Wei was anxious and stopped in front of the young monk. Wow! The young monk was expressionless, but a cyan wave suddenly rolled out towards the left, rolling down the already ruined bungalow roof on one side. You! Mo Wei was startled and angry, but he was afraid to act. You leave here, only if you don't know anything. Isn't it convenient for everyone? The young monk said lightly. What are you looking for? Wei Suo asked aloud. I just heard them say that your surname is Ma, and look at you, it should be the person who guards the Lingtian and is qualified to listen to Zen. The young monk glanced at Wei Suo, expressionless. For the sake that you can listen to Zen with me, I can tell you that I am looking for some ancient thorn fruit trees to match alchemy. I have read records that originally there was a thorn fruit tree in this small ling, which was cut down during the construction of these houses, and may have been used in the timber for the construction of some houses. Come to the medicine well. I told you that you, as the brothers of these two people, can take them away. It's not appropriate. Wei Suo shook his head. Not to mention that in case a teacher or uncle sees that their old place here was torn down, big thunder, when we found out that we were passing here and implicated us, and maybe that thorn tree was not used to build these houses at the time. To take a step back, look for the ancient thorn fruit trees that are old and suitable for medicine. You can also look at the rootless wood of each house slowly, and you don't need to break it up. You can take a picture of the broken wood. I'm in a hurry. I don't have time to waste. Do you think I'm like you? Do you have a lot of time? The young monk's eyes narrowed slightly, a cold light appeared, and he was obviously full of threats. You know what you should do now? Looks like. I'm also very busy. I have to look after a lot of Lingtian, and I'll have to rush back to see 2 cold-scented ice plums later. There are some places to loosen the soil. Wei Suo's Hong's honest appearance seems to look at all no threats. Senior brother, don't talk nonsense with this person, this is totally a dumbass. The young monk with a birthmark on his eyebrows was impatient. After saying this, he directly threatened with cold voices, if you talk nonsense again, dare to take action. If it blocks, I will give you a good look in the future. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 843. Chapter 843 Void Golden Gourd. Secret place. The ruins of an ancient building. This ancient building is estimated to be at least 10,000 years old, and the pattern on the broken wall has been completely weathered and completely invisible. From the wreckage of the building, it looks like an ancient Taoist temple. The collapsed gravestones are filled with ancient trees and rough giant treasures. The ancient desolate is scented and the Wei Suo divine consciousness is splashed. This ruin does not seem to be a great treasure, only about 1,000 feet, the location of the two is in the heart of this ruin. At the Achievement and Virtue sect, Wei Suo rushed to the north and escaped from the virtual platform. From the Achievement and Virtue sect to the north, it should be the wilderness between the cities. But the atmosphere of this secret place is that Wei Suo and Ling Longtian feel very weird for the first time. It feels like this is not like the wilderness between the cities, but like the wilderness outside Heaven's Dome. Wei Suo and Ling Longtian looked at each other and looked at each other. They swept up and wanted to see the lust shape around them. However, the figure of the two people was just moving upwards to less than 100 feet. The void above was suddenly separated, and numerous golden transparent crystals emerged from the inside. At the same time, after the void close to the ground, it always emits numerous golden transparent crystals at the same time. Pu. Wei Suo has no hesitation, stepping straight out, moving void walking step shape shift great art. Although I don't know what the lust is at the moment, this sudden change has given him a very bad atmosphere. The sun-like glory of the sun shines through the void, and the figures of Wei Suo and Ling Longtian disappear instantly. But then, the two men appeared directly in front of the secret place. The faces of Wei Suo and Ling Longtian suddenly changed. At this time, the transparent golden crystal light that emerged from the upper and lower voids has formed an egg-shaped transparent gold hood, which completely covers the two people. This transparent golden hood is obviously some kind of extremely eccentric restrictions. Wei Suo's void walking step shape shift great art has been displayed, but in this restrictions, step by step, it is just a few feet, almost like in place the hole pierced the void and it came out. And at this moment, it is in the air of several tens of feet. Looking around, it is surrounded by very wild mountains. The scenery is not like Heaven's Dome. Hong. Without any hesitation, Wei Suo has a breath of anger and directs Mt Sumi great lifting. But let Wei Suo take a breath of air. Mt Sumi great lifting's part of the Ponte great treasure and the transparent gold glaze disappeared directly into the invisible. A Ponte great treasure was pressed down and disappeared directly into the transparent golden glare. The powerful energy of this Dao technique shapeshift great art is not extinguished or offset, but it seems that this transparent golden reticle is like a great treasure door leading to a void, Pang great treasure is directly worn into the void. Chi. A surging sound blew. Wei Suo played another Dark Emperor sword Chi, but as before, the Dark Emperor sword Chi just disappeared into the transparent golden brilliance as if it had penetrated into another void. What is this restrictions? Ling Longtian is also amazed, with a grey spirit light great treasure on it, approaching the transparent gold hood. Wei Suo has always suspected that her grey bracelet is the real immortal artifact, divine mystic place treasure great secret great art shapeshift energy can be offset, but with this transparent golden light mask a touch, her bracelet out of the grey spirit light unexpectedly is also directly penetrate into the transparent golden light cover, as through the other void, and this transparent golden light mask unexpectedly is not suffered any impact. Wei Suo was in motion, and Ling Longtian was not far from the secret place, but also played a bronze flame, but it was placed in the storage bracelet. When the spiritual stones were spared, only the ancient axe shapeshift great art great treasure of spirit rank. This shapeshift great art great treasure hit a transparent gold visor and immediately penetrated it, then it faintly passed a surging sound. Wei Suo's face showed a slight hesitation, but then he extended his hand and explored the transparent golden light mask. Obviously, he is the current shapeshift great art and shapeshift great art great treasure powerful energy. It seems that none of shapeshift great art poses a threat to this transparent golden reticle. It is to try to use the physical strength directly. Zheng. Like the divine iron, Wei Suo's fingers just plunged into the transparent golden reticle and were twisted into smashed, reveals flesh and broken white bone. Wei Suo a surging sound, painful suffocation, retracted his hand, behind the head primordial beginning divine wood divine root continued to flow out the essence of life, his hand quickly recovered. This time he has already perceived it. In the transparent gold reticle, it is like mixing a lot of void cracks. The powerful energy is not terrifying more than the transmission of the shapeshift great art. This kind of powerful energy is either the supreme secret techniques that can be displayed by the heaven-shaking great treasure above divine mystic 4th layer 5th layer, or the shapeshift great art array restrictions where someone has already placed the strong great treasure in this secret place. It is the great treasure of divine mystic 1st layer 2nd layer cultivation base, and it is impossible to place such a powerful energy, and he and Ling Longtian are locked in it. After taking a deep breath, Wei Suo tried to run the Earth Mother ancient scripture. What makes his brow wrinkle tighter is that the Earth Mother ancient scripture can be used normally, which gives him an extremely strange feeling. The origin of the transparent gold mask, origin chi and powerful energy, seems to be able to break in, but the powerful energy inside is not able to get out and is directly worn on the light wall of this transparent gold reticle. Damn swindler, it seems that we have been counted by Mingde, and he really didn't feel good. Ling Longtian's sound transmission to Wei Suo's ear. At this moment, the lust shape is obviously arranged, and it is impossible to accidentally crash into such restrictions. Wei Suo didn't answer, and the indestructible clean bottle was first offered. Then ghost raising jar was taken out, and a drop of fire earth dragon was dripped in and the green-robed old man was called out. When I have time, I will slowly explain what happened. Have you seen such restrictions? Such restrictions, shapeshift great art and shapeshift great art great treasure, were not destroyed by shapeshift great art, and there seemed to be a void of numerous space cracks. In my body, I went in and was directly smashed. But it does not seem to block the penetration of origin chi and powerful energy. Without a pause, Wei Suo directly allowed green-robed old man to help identify such restrictions. We are completely banned inside, green-robed old man also immediately screamed in amazement. I have never heard of such restrictions. This restrictions is too weird for the green-robed old man. There is obviously no layout of the great treasure shapeshift great art on the ground and around. There is no light around the rune. The shapeshift great art array seems to be placed directly in the void. And even if the space class restrictions, Wei Suo's shapeshift great art powerful energy should also be forced to break. The power of this restrictions is too strong. It is definitely not the general golden core cultivator. Arranged. Steel teeth younger sister, what else do you have to break the shapeshift great art of this restrictions? Wei Suo took a deep breath, calmed down and asked Ling Longtian, while looking around, perceiving, there is no cultivator around. There is definitely no problem with the 3 clear crosses, and he has no shapeshift great art to predict which direction we are going to escape. How can it be prearranged? Ling Longtian first stunned his face after a surging sound, and then he said, I didn't break the other shapeshift great art of the shapeshift great art array. There is only waiting. Wei Suo looked very gloomy and said such a sentence. Since designing them to deal with them is certainly not as simple as imprisoning them, it will definitely appear sooner or later. Why, is there anything else that can be taken out? Wei Suo and Ling Longtian just waited less than the half stick of incense, just outside the transparent gold reticle, less than 200 feet, suddenly a golden light, and a somewhat sloppy surging sound come out. This surging sound is the surging sound of the male cultivator. Judging from this surging sound, this person's age should not be great treasure. Golden light is a small golden bottle gourd out of the house with great treasure. This golden bottle gourd is made from a peculiar golden jade, with a strange rhythm. The translucent bottle gourd reveals some textures like natural manifestation, which makes this golden bottle gourd not like the cultivator is refining, but it is like growing on a magical plant. This golden bottle gourd is directly revealed from the void, and has not been perceived by Ling Longtian. This is void golden gourd. At first glance at this bottle gourd, Ling Longtian suddenly had an unprecedented naked body great treasure, sound transmission to Wei Suo's ear, to Wei Suo's feeling, Ling Longtian, this is completely panic, fear. Even when faced with those divine mystic great treasures, Ling Longtian was not so scared at all. Void golden gourd, do you recognize the origin of this thing? Ling Longtian's reaction suddenly made Wei Suo's heart a bit hairy and immediately nervous with sound transmission. Void bottle gourd, this is Void Deist's shapeshift great art great treasure. No wonder this restrictions are so weird, this is the heritage of Void Deist. Ling Longtian's surging sound has some shivering tremors. Void Deist is the strong guy of your time, Wei Suo asked immediately. Ling Longtian used to play divine mystic great treasure with him. It is very dangerous when he is not afraid of divine mystic great treasure. That is because the divine mystic great treasure that she has seen is not a general cultivator. What, now she is so frightened, this Void Deist is definitely a different thing. Void Deist was the strongman of the desolate race at the time, the great treasure of the venerable emperor first layer, and his work of shapeshift great art and shapeshift great art all involved the power of space, for Deo of void, not comparable to a general cultivator. Ling Longtian looked horrified at the golden bottle gourd, sound transmission to Wei Suo's ear. Is the strongest of the ancient desolate race. Wei Suo also suddenly took a deep breath. After being in contact with Ling Longtian for so long, he knows what spirit race and desertate race mean, plus a lot of heaven-shaking strong people who have not been recorded. The group is completely beyond the general cultivation world. The presence. If you still haven't done it, then check out which chapters of the most popular novels have been updated. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 844. Chapter 844 Phoenix Design. Ling Longtian, the venerable emperor of that era, refers to the heaven-shaking great treasure of the true immortal cultivation base. The real true immortal has not been seen for thousands of years. True immortal's heritage can be imagined as amazing, and Wei Suo knows that Ling Longtian is not afraid of true immortal's heritage at this moment, but the power of the party represented by the Void Deist. What is the magic of this void golden gourd? What kind of great treasure? Wei Suo's heart is also amazed, but his face still remains silent. This void golden gourd is a great treasure that hides the void. Although there is no action after entering the void, The equito to open a hole in the void, put yourself in, but the general technique and great treasure, did not break into the void, so even if you know that the void golden gourd is hidden in there, there is simply no help, and it is also precious to a strong great treasure defense giant treasure Ling Longtian saying with sound transmission, and this piece of great treasure is hidden first, it is difficult to present, but the control of this great treasure hidden in the cultivator of the void, but it can perceive the behavior of the external cultivator. At the beginning, void deists never appeared positively against the enemy. They relied on this great treasure and the secret place to hide the void and suddenly attacked the assassination. Shua. At this time, it was a strange way, giving people a void golden gourd that grew up like divine wood. With the retraction of the void golden gourd, the first 9 Ponte great treasures, with 2 high figures, illuminate the eyes of Wei Suo and Ling Longtian. There are 3 people in void golden gourd, 2 of whom are old people who are dying, and the other is a young man who seems to be only 30 years old. These 9 ancient characters are actually the spiritual chi condense outside the young man of the age of 30. Reading books. Outside the spiritual chi condense strange ancient characters, and these 9 ancient characters on the inexplicable breath, like a secret place connected to the void, this repair, gives the impression that God's secret place extraordinary. Station. Without any consideration, Wei Suo knows that this young man is definitely the cultivator that has been passed down by void deist. I saw this young man looking at the funny things General Leisurely Table Lust looked at Wei Suo and Ling Longtian. This person is rich god such as dashing eyebrows star, wearing is a very rare style of ancient clothes, is the use of hundreds of yan silk embroidered, covered with a variety of flowers bird flea, rivers, sun and moon stars of the graphics, almost a kind of want to be all things in the world to integrate its feeling, and the flap very long, cover up the feet do not say, but also back horizontally out, in the air out of 2 or 3 jong. All the brilliance of this person's clothing is only 1 inch, although it gives people a feeling of extraordinary, but it is not blazing, making the whole piece of clothing have a gorgeous feeling of being born. The most eye-catching thing about this person is the bright and great treasure, which is like 2 stars. It is very smart, but at this moment it is obviously hostile to Wei Suo and Ling Longtian, so it falls in the eyes of Wei Suo and Ling Longtian. It was the first time that I thought this person was very smart and scheming. The 2 old people beside the young man, one is the old man dressed up, his face dry, wearing a black robe that looks a little worn, holding a string of dark red beads. The other one is the white old deist wearing a purple gold crown, wearing a green robe of sun true fire, which has a hint of electric power from time to time, wrinkled and old enough to seem to be unable to open his eyes. You are who? Wei Suo tried to use great treasure to ride. This virtue sect has the strongest divine mystic great treasure ever to be able to leave supreme strong, with a direct impact on the sound, in any sentence, it is like a shockwave impact on the supreme great treasure road. Before Wei Suo hit this shot directly, Ming Ning hit hard and didn't fight back. The attack of this secret place technique is powerful energy although not an MT Sumi great lifting and lightning waning moon are compared to the supreme, which is specializing in killing, but the victory is in the same impact as divine consciousness. The general and great treasure are unstoppable. Station look at one I'm. If it is not a particularly tyrannical cultivator, it will definitely be directly hit hard. However, the powerful energy driven by the great treasure is also directly blocked by the transparent gold ray, and it is broken into the void, only the surging sound is transmitted. Void deists void great treasure made Wei Suo's heart stunned again. Under Zantai Linglan, a rogue cultivator, there is no such thing as the great treasure of Brother Wei. The bright-eyed young man smiled slightly and was obviously looking at Wei Suo and Ling Longtian. The 2 of me are the bitter cold elders and the green heavenly Dao people, both of which are virtue sect's supreme elder. Where are we here? Wei Suo's god has not changed, continue to ask, is it Minged and you designed it to deal with me? We are outside the heavens dome on the northwest side of Cloud Spirit continent, 50,000 miles from heaven's dome, great treasure outside the spiritual chi condensed Zantai Linglan, the 9 strange characters that Wei Suo has never seen before, is like a regular family. He nodded, this is designed by Mingde. Mainly the great treasure and secret place on Brother Wei is really eye-catching. Why, not desolate race let you deal with us, just Mingde. Wei Suo looked at the young man who didn't know where it came from, and suddenly asked. This Zantai Linglan's cultivation base is the golden core 4th layer period, which is much lower than his current cultivation base, but this person is the inheritance of void deist and cannot be judged by ordinary eyes. Desolate race, Zantai Linglan had a fascinating look on the face of the god Brother Wei Wei's deserty race. I haven't heard of it. I wonder if I can tell you one or two. Don't know desolate race? So how did you get the inheritance of void deist? Wei Suo's face is not covered by lust, and he secretly pays attention to the god of Zantai Linglan. Do you know the origins of my path of cultivation? Zantai Linglan gave a slight glimpse, and it seemed to reflect what it was like. Understood, I am next to you. This is the descendant of the ancientized giant treasure demon. You should know some of her from her mouth. The origin of the path of cultivation. Where is your way? Ling Longtian and Wei Suo looked at each other, and then Ling Longtian couldn't help but ask for surging sound. This Zantai Linglan gave Wei Suo and her feelings. It seems that she really doesn't know what desolate race looks like, and she is also called the descendant of the metaphor of the great treasure. It seems that she only saw the record from the classics. This person is not from desolate. The direct inheritance of race is average. In the next occasional experience, as for the detailed passage, involving the hidden secret place, I am afraid that it is inconvenient to say it. Zantai Linglan smiled and said, I am also very interested in the inheritance of Brother Wei. Is the secret place of Brother Wei the biography of the descendant of this metamorphic great treasure? My secret place technique was obtained from a cultivator that I tried to take my body. Wei Suo said no words in the form of lust, and said, Sanking Cross Virtual Taiwan can only transmit thousands of miles, how can we appear in this secret place? And that Sanking crosses the virtual platform, we have checked it, there is no problem at all. I can answer this question. Zantai Linglan talked about the relationship between an old friend and said, since you know that Sanking crosses the virtual platform, you may have heard of the thing that is directed at Sanking across the virtual platform. This object was originally used in conjunction with Sanking's cross virtual platform. It can increase the transmission of powerful energy from Sanking across the virtual platform. After changing the piece of the platform on the left with the repaired secret place, the two are connected. This secret place. As for other questions, you can ask Mingde. He should also come over with another Sanking cross virtual platform. What do you do when you die? They must have any powerful means. Ling Longtian heard Zantai Linglan say so, sound transmission to Wei Suo's ear. It seems that this Zantai Linglan does not seem to be instructed by the deserty race great treasure, but only for Wei Suo, not for her. Her heart suddenly calmed down, not much fear. You can only look at the lust shape first. Wei Suo sound transmission to Ling Longtian's ear, his eyes flashed unnotically, considering the countermeasures, thought of the annihilation golden core. Although I don't know what the restrictions array is in the secret place, it is reasonable to say that restrictions have the limit of powerful energy. It is not good. If you play all the annihilation golden core on hand, you don't know if you can make this gold light inside the mask. The void collapsed. After all, the number of annihilation golden cores on his hands is amazing, and at the same time, if he keeps playing, it is precious to many divine mystic great treasures to bombard this restrictions at the same time. And according to the previous test of this restrictions, the powerful energy should be scored in, that is, directly into the void of the inside, will not leak reveals. Just waiting for dozens of breathing time, a glaucoma wrapped around a lot of light symbols, suddenly emerged from the void, and then 9 ancient characters outside Zantai Linglan were lit at the same time. A young man was in the gold crystal light. The top of the cover appeared. This person kept an inch short, white skin, a dusty breath, a light smile on his face, wearing a white robes. It is Mingde. Whoosh! A phoenix-like golden light suddenly came out from below and was taken up by Xantai Linglan. Mingde, I am giving you a life at hibernation gas C, and according to the agreement of the two parties, I helped you kill Mingning, and you actually tried to deal with me. Don't you be afraid that I will kill you directly with selfless conversion from the beginning? Wei Suo suddenly sneered at seeing Mingde appearing in the original. Selfless conversion. This restrictions is really powerful and unobstructed, but I happen to have a virtue sect secret place, just to restrain this restrictions. Mingde smiled and said, do not let you plant this restrictions, how can you believe me? No wonder Mingning is dead, you are still alive. Mingning is really not as good as you, his very ruthless is all in the secret place, your viciousness is completely in the secret place. Ling Longtian is also sneer. Thank you for complimenting, and I would like to thank the two for helping me kill Mingning and get rid of this strong opponent that competes with me for virtue section. Mingde smiled proudly. And I didn't even think that you actually got MT Supreme is strong like Sumi great lifting and great treasure. What, this person actually got MT the inheritance of Sumi great lifting and great treasure. When Mingde said this, the two virtue sect supreme elders who were present were also surprised by great treasure, and they had a surging sound. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 845. Chapter 845, Purdue Divine Light. It's also an unexpected great treasure to harvest. I thought I could only harvest the strong shapeshift great art such as the shapeshift great art and the ancient emperor weapon seizing technique, but I didn't expect you to get MT Sumi great lifting and great treasure supreme strong shapeshift great art by shapeshift great art. Mingde smiles and looks at Wei Suo. Great treasure by shapeshift great art is my supreme heritage of the greatest great treasure of the seven treasure secret place. I think you should be listening to Zen sound. Got a biography of shapeshift great art? If there is no Xantai fellow deists help for the shapeshift great art with the great treasure, such as the shapeshift great art, under divine mystic, you are no match. No one is under divine mystic. Xantai Linglan's face also showed a hint of the god of great treasure. What is the strong shapeshift great art by shapeshift great art? It is a strong shapeshift great art that directly drives the giant treasure powerful energy with the mantra. Mingde explained. Mingning was hit hard by this shapeshift great art and didn't even have the power to fight back. Similar to the ancient supreme, the shapeshift great art, Xantai Linglan's brow suddenly jumped, knowing that shapeshift great art is extraordinary. It's not easy to find someone who can get the void deist heritage. Wei Suo looked at Mingde and sneered. This is another point of fellow deist Wei. Mingde smiled a little. The cultivator that can lead heaven's dome is not what Mingning is looking for, but what I encountered. The eyes of Wei Suo and Ling Longtian flashed and they all gathered on Xantai Linglan. So, is that person you? Xantai Linglan smiled and said, there is only a rough path, and it can be matched with one or two. It is mainly based on the Book of Cloud Realm sect obtained from achievement and reeled by achievement and virtue section. Is void deist strong enough to take advantage of heaven's dome's powerful energy? Wei Suo sinks and transmits sound to Ling Longtian's ear. Don't say that it is the venerable emperor class, even the first-rate characters of heaven transcending great emperor and immortal great emperor, there is no shapeshift great art to interpret heaven's dome. Void deist can't take advantage of heaven's dome's powerful energy, at most the shapeshift great art of some void restrictions. If you can't use heaven's dome powerful energy, you can introduce heaven's dome powerful energy into the void, without the powerful energy of heaven's dome. Backlash caused them to fall. Ling Longtian saying with sound transmission. The most is to add a protective umbrella to those who dare to lead heaven's dome powerful energy. Wei Suo watched Xantai Linglan and Mingde sneer. Even if it was void deist, it didn't dare to touch heaven's dome. It's ridiculous to rely on you, even dare to touch heaven's dome. You know a lot about things, and I am more and more interested in you. Xantai Alam is not angry, watching Wei Suo and Ling Longtian smile. How are you going to deal with us? Wei Suo looks at Zantai Linglan and Ming Dao. Last time at the hibernation gas sea, you must have heard Lu Jinyu say, my achievement and virtue sect has a shape-shift great art from divine light. Ming said with a smile, this time I am going to use this technique on fellow Daoist Wei. Wei Suo and Ling Longtian looked at each other with a slight change in their face and a feeling of sorrow. For a time, the two did not think of this. Look at the design like you, I am afraid this shape-shift great art is not so easy to display, Wei Suo said while calming his mind. This technique is not so easy to use. It needs to be continuously used for 10 days with Purdue Divine Light to fully humanize. And this technique is very difficult to do with True Yuan and my heart. It is difficult to do with my cultivation base. But with 2 Supreme Elders, it should be okay. Ming smiled slightly. After 10 days, 2 people who are also my achievement and virtue sect are in the position of shape-shift great art. What should I do if I die? Ling Longtian sound transmission to Wei Suo's ear, this time she is really scared, if it is really controlled by the other party, it is really a life to die. Chi. Wei Suo suddenly moved, and his hands were connected with a brilliance of ruin. Annihilation Golden Core. The situation at the moment is very bad, which makes him feel an unprecedented crisis. The secret place of the divine light, which requires a combination of Minged and 2 old antique characters, is definitely terrifying. He dare not take the risk to wait for Purdue. After divine light is out, set the shape-shift great art to break the restrictions. So many annihilation golden core. This person has a shape-shift great art refining the annihilation golden core. This annihilation golden core is to the great treasure, this person has so many annihilation golden core. The old antiques of the 2 achievement and virtue sect, the bitter cold elders and the young heavenly Dao, were fiercely beaten. At this moment, Wei Suo has played more than 10 annihilation golden cores in succession. Boom, boom. The annihilation golden core is directly like a golden hood, and a bunch of powerful energy is not scattered, but also directly penetrates into the void, but at the same time, a stock seems to be surveying sound from the far-reaching heaven-shaking explosion. Constantly ringing, the entire gold mask suddenly and violently shakes up, giving a feeling of bursting. Is available dead Jian, fast. Upon seeing this scene, Ling Longtian was excited about the great treasure. Wei Suo's eyes also flashed a glimpse of the annihilation golden core, which was continuously shot from his hand and hit the gold mask. Boom, boom. With a surging sound like the explosion surging sound from the far-flung void, there are countless dense lines on the entire gold mask. You don't have to shoot, he can't beat it. Seeing this scene, Minged and the bitter cold elders, Qing heavenly Dao people are ready to immediately apply shape-shift great art to attack Wei Suo from outside, but Zantai Linglan is still secret place, so that the 3 do not need shape-shift great art. What the hell is this restrictions, can't they break? Ling Longtian is angry and ruined by great treasure. In the twinkling of an eye, Wei Suo has been playing more than 20 annihilation golden cores. Many of the more than 20 annihilation golden cores are used to kill his sect master and old antique characters from the previous hibernation gas sea. Refining. These characters' divine ability may not be able to compare with the impressive old antique character of achievement and virtue sect, but true UN cultivation base, golden core powerful energy is real, so many annihilation golden core explode. Just as several divine mystic motivated the strong shape-shift great art, a city was completely destroyed, but now the golden reticle looks broken, but it doesn't break. Wei Suo's face ugly stopped. Since the innumerable cracks on the gold hood, his annihilation golden core has been hit, and the gold mask has not changed. There are a lot of good things on Brother Wei, so many annihilation golden cores are amazing. See Wei Suo face ugly stop hand, Zantai Linglan is a slight smile, Wei, but fellow Daoist also no longer need to waste strength, to tell the truth, this Wei has been restrictions fellow break, but this Wei restrictions to disappear, but it is also to be after 10th, because this road restrictions after I have no shapeshift great art removal, so decorate the time, I according to the divine light. Need shapeshift great art time is well calculated. The array plate of this restrictions, when it was laid out, was first used to enter the void with secret place. It is not known how far this secret place is. Although the shock generated by your annihilation golden core's Pangret treasure powerful energy has destroyed my array plate, the powerful energy transmitted from the array plate has been exhausted, and the secret place is still 10 days. Zantai Linglan looked at Wei Suo and then added a smile. I have only one set of this array plate. Now it is broken by Brother Wei. In the future, Brother Wei will only help me to do more compensation. Compensate your head ah. You laugh a fart. Ling Longtian can't help it, and great treasure is smashed. Zantai Linglan clearly wants to put them to death, but they still smile all the time, like they're old friends, which makes Ling Longtian really can't stand it. The descendants of the demonic treasure are also very interested in the next, and we must carefully study and probe. Zantai Linglan is not angry, still looks like a smile. Det Jian business. Is there anything else to do? Shapeshift great art, aren't you usually scheming? Ling Longtian screamed at the scalp and shouted at Wei Suo's wow sound transmission. Wei Suo is also a cold sweat in his hand. For a moment, his mind has turned a lot of ideas, but he did not think of anything that can cope with the current situation of shapeshift great art. To Supreme Elder, let's get started. When Mingde heard the dialogue between Zantai Linglan and Wei Suo's, she had already made a great reservation. At this moment, she smiled slightly, facing the bitter cold reverend dressed up by the old man and wearing a sun-true fire green robe that appeared from time to time. Qing Heavenly Dao people said this. To reach out, first take out a pure golden lotus stand, place it directly on the ground outside the gold hood, and sit up. Immediately, the bitter cold reverend and the green Heavenly Dao people also took out a pure gold lotus platform, placed on the ground on both sides of Mingde, with a eager eye, but a solemn sitting on the plate. What, me, oh. After sitting on the pure gold lotus platform, the three men reached out and squeezed out a shapeshift great art, which was almost exactly the same as the ordinary Buddha's 6-character mantra, but the rhythm between the scales. It is totally different. With the embarrassment of the three men, the heads of the three men turned out to be a golden Buddha, only 1 inch long, sitting on the top of the three. The brilliance of the three golden Buddhas merged together to form a circle of Buddha light, while the Buddha's light is faintly revealing countless ancient words. Zantai Linglan figured back and swept straight back, far away. The Buddha light, which was made by the three people, shapeshift great art, spread out and shrouded the entire golden light mask. The whole golden light mask was filled with strange Buddha light. Hong. Wei Suo instantly felt that there were countless weird Zen sounds getting into his brain, as if he had to break up his consciousness all at once and shake it out of the naked body. This kind of Purdue divine light, with the magic spell shapeshift great art, but like a weird divine consciousness shocked shapeshift great art, is a divine consciousness that will break the will, and will force the impact of the cultivator divine consciousness replace with consciousness. Becoming a Buddha, Chinfo, become a Buddha, in my mind, it seems that 1,000 Buddha caves have suddenly been erected, and numerous golden great treasure Buddhas sing in it, so that Wei Suo can forget itself and become the same golden Buddha.